We're going to talk about technology and string trimmers and look at battery and gas models here, talk about the advantages and disadvantages of both, who should buy what, and look at what maintenance is needed for both, because both do actually have some maintenance costs. We're going to look at battery operated stuff, talk about the RPMs, talk about the battery life. We're going to look at gas stuff, talk about the RPMs, what the maintenance should be, how you need to take care of it so it is almost maintenance free, and then make a decision based on who might be buying these as to where you should put your money. This is going to be very quick and simple. I'll try to go through it very fast. First, if you do watch the channel, this DeWalt power bank is still running after we really used and abused that. I think that is something that is very awesome. First, I have here the Milwaukee Quick Lock string trimmer. This takes different attachments at the end. Milwaukee is just one of the brands that makes these. It's one of them that I like because it's a tool battery powered. It is lightweight, it is easy to handle, so if you're a senior or someone who wants a lighter weight tool, my suggestion is always go to the tool-based battery platform. Stay away from the larger, higher voltage systems that only base themselves off of outdoor power equipment and now seem to be moving into like bikes and fans and other things like that. It's not needed. Buy something like this, in my opinion, because you're going to get all the power that you might need in a lighter weight package, and then you have these batteries for other items that might be in the same line. Now, quality is something that I always would suggest that people buy. Stay away from, in my opinion, some of the Home Depot brands like Ryobi. They don't have the quality. You're going to pay not much less to get them, and then when they break, where do you take them to get fixed? That's tough. And then you rely on a warranty if it's going to be covered or not. Milwaukee has a great reputation. DeWalt has a pretty good reputation of that. Both make great string trimmers. There's no reason, in my opinion, to look at other brands unless you are heavily invested in that battery platform. Gas-powered ones, this is a steel combi system. If you like steel, hate steel, it doesn't matter. What I would highly suggest is that you pay some money to get a good quality unit. Don't go out and buy that Home Depot brand. Walk into a store that carries the different commercial brands that are serviceable. You're going to want to take this back in. This goes for lawnmowers too. I highly suggest do not buy a lawnmower from Home Depot. Where are you going to take it when it needs to get serviced? You can't take it back to Home Depot, and you need to have a relationship with a dealer. I see it all the time in comments. Buy from a dealer. Spend 30 bucks more on whatever you're doing and buy it from a dealer. When you need service, you can take it back in. These systems are not hard to repair. This steel is what they call the 4-mix model. It's a 4-stroke engine, but it runs basically like a 2-stroke. So you add oil to gas, put it in here. There's no oil in the crankcase. You never have to change it. As long as you do a few things, you'll never have trouble with this. One, ethanol-free gas. It's called rec fuel. It's everywhere these days. A little bit more expensive, buy it. Buy the steel oil. Mix it as recommended. Simple, easy. And as long as you stay away from ethanol in this, you will not have issues with it starting. You will not have issues with it clogging up in the carburetor. And if you do, from a severe lack of use, then it's very easy to repair. Get to know gas engines, even if you love batteries, because someday, if anything ever happened, this is where you want to go. You want to be able to fix things and fix problems yourself. Battery operated string trimmers, Milwaukee's. Let's say that it lasts anywhere from 10 to 25, maybe 30 minutes, depending on the size of battery that you have on the back. The larger the battery, the heavier it is. For small lawns, this is awesome. You can use the fast and slow speeds on here to save a little bit of battery. I think that is kind of a joke. It works. This is already slow from the factory. You're talking about 65 RPMs at the end. It's not going to handle weeds really well because of its lower RPM. If you can picture the string that's coming around, it's going to hit something heavy. It's going to deflect back and not cut the weed, and then it's going to start wrapping it around the head, especially taller grasses, and then it'll clog up this head. It's just because of the limitations of battery. Somebody's going to say, go out and buy the larger Ego model or the Greenworks model, and you won't have that issue. You still will. They're still much slower at the end. Some of them have designed that out a little bit, but you're still not going to get the huge performance as you would with gas. Now we talked about 6,500 RPM, that's an average. When you get into these commercial models, which I would suggest you buy, even lower end commercial models, they're not much more expensive than the higher end residential models. Get something with quality. Double, well, 11,000 RPMs, 10,500 to 11,000 RPMs on this. You're gonna get that weed and it's going to get cut and you're not gonna wrap it around the end. And besides that, you can run larger line without issue. You're gonna be able to run that 0.90 line or 0.090 line, or you're even gonna be able to step up from that and run the extreme duty line that's gonna do a much better job than the 0.080 line. Just a simple fact. When you think about that, it's almost mind-blowing that you're getting that much more RPMs out of the bottom. If you're looking at this gas model and get intimidated by the different jet adjustments, don't be. You don't have to mess with that. Someone else can for you. It's very easy, and it should be something that you should learn anyway, but if you're beyond that and you want to go over here to battery, I get it. Just know that you're not getting the same performance and the same level of everything. Now, what I do, I buy this Steel Ultra oil. This is simple. This is enough oil for 1 gallon. So you go over to your rec fuel, you take this small container, which I hate these in the large amounts, but I love these things for the small container. This is a 1.25 gallon container. I watch the meter on the gas. I fill this up to about 0.95 gallons. And then I add my oil, I mix it up, and when I need to fill this, this is very simple, I can pour this down, no issue, nothing's gonna come out. Now again, I hate this on the larger ones, but on the smaller ones for chainsaws, for anything like this, super simple. I put this in, get it in place, and there's a green button in the back. I just use my finger, and I can push down, and the gas will come out however fast I want. Boom, done. That is it. Simple to fill up, fast and efficient. I like that. And beyond that, it stores easy. It's not a ton that's around. Downside, you have to go back to the gas station and get it, but it's easy to fill. Now, if you're at the point where you don't like pulling this, they do make pull starts that are easy. They make a lot of different models, but I get it. If you can't pull, go over here and deal with what you have with the battery. But on this, today they're so easy to actually start. You just hit the choke, hit the primer a couple times, and this stuff usually starts within 2 or 3 pulls. Yes, gas is going to give you a little noise, but in my opinion, that is something with both of these, you should have some sort of glasses, some sort of ear protection on anyway, but the power here with this noise is double. Maintenance on both of these string trimmers is basically the same. The only thing that needs to happen, and most people don't do it, on the side there's a bolt right down here. That needs to come out, and you need to put some grease in that every once in a while, probably annually. Not a lot of grease, you don't want to put too much in, but at the same point, both of these have it, and it's something that you have to do. Some of the new models are getting away from that, and then they're just putting grease in it once. That's not going to last forever, and then you're going to have to buy a new one. Make sure you grease it. Most people never do, and eventually they burn up and they get upset and they have to buy another one. But the maintenance that you might run across on the battery model is actually going to be the battery. So when that battery goes bad, look at how much it's going to cost to buy a new one. In some cases, those batteries can be upwards of $400. That's significant because for $400, I'm really close to buying this guy. And this is going to last about 20 years without a doubt if it's taken care of right. By taken care of, I mean use good oil and use ethanol-free fuel. That's the simplistic maintenance to this. If you can do that with these gas models, no matter what one you have, you will have great luck. Will the fuel lines maybe go one day? Maybe. That's like $2 worth of fuel line. Whatever it is, the primer ball, all this stuff is easily replaced. With that said, that's the little bit of maintenance that's on that, and most of that won't come for 5 to 10 years. And at that point in time, putting 15, 20, 30 bucks into maintenance on this is not a big deal, in my opinion, because in that time you probably bought 2, maybe 3 batteries, and the battery technology has changed. In some ways, when you're buying a battery-operated string trimmer, it's very similar to buying a battery-operated car. You are buying a computer. We've all bought computers before, and when we do, or a cell phone, you're buying a piece of technology. In 2, 3, 4 years, that piece of technology is no longer relevant, no longer worth anything for resale, and it's not something that is easily maintained because no one uses that technology anymore. In the tool world, it might go back 10 years and you might say, but who wants a 4-year-old drill anymore? Because there's been 4 or 5 models since then that are much better, and the old drill is worthless. Same thing comes along with string trimmers and older batteries. They're just not worth anything. If you don't believe me, go to Facebook Marketplace and look up a battery-operated outdoor power equipment item and say, how much is that worth? Very little, if anything. You can ask anything you want, but what does it actually sell for? Very little, because the cost of the batteries is expensive. Another reason why I go back to tool batteries, because they do go on sale. Most homeowners need some other type of tool that battery can use, so you can use that battery and get its use year-round. Keep that battery happy, not just leave it sit. I would highly recommend that you stay completely away from battery-operated snowblowers. They're not there yet, and while snowblowers are a pain to maintain because of the amount of time they sit, just use ethanol or ethanol-free gas, and then use some stabilizer in it. You'll be perfectly fine. Take care of what you have. Use the fuel shutoff, drain the carburetor by running it out or pulling the screw, however you want to do it. See, it's very simple. You just have to learn a little bit. There are tons of people out there who comment on my videos who are so smart about battery operated stuff, how the batteries go together, how they're welded, what they do. Just dive into the battery operated area. If they did that on a gas engine, they'd have this thing tuned up, running crazy, and making more horsepower than it did out of the beginning. That's what we used to do when I was a kid. Today it seems like people are more interested in the batteries, but they don't last, and you'll end up actually spending more money on battery operated string trimmers over the long run than you will on one single good quality gas unit, because battery operated ones aren't going to last. This is, again, a piece of technology, and if it does last 10 years, most likely the battery technology on the back might or might not work with it. We've seen that multiple times in almost every brand of tool. Long story short, my opinion, if you are a senior or if you are someone who can't pick up anything heavy, doesn't want to pull for the pull start, and you have a lot of extra money that you're willing to spend, buy a tool-based unit and you will have more enjoyment out of it than you probably could imagine. A lot of times people just think, oh my God, I just have to remember to charge the battery. I don't have to store gas. I don't have to go anywhere. I just plug it in. It's great. Performance is going to be a little bit of an issue. It'll work great for small yards. It's not going to work great for trimming ditch lines, and it's not going to work great for really long grass. But at the same point, 99% of homeowners are ecstatic with it if they live in a city on a small lot. If you have a larger lot, you have taller grass, or if you have the need to use a string trimmer for more than 20 to 30 minutes at a time, do like the professionals do. Go out and get a good gas string trimmer, and you will be more than happy. And in fact, if you had a battery operated string trimmer before and were pretty happy about it, try out somebody's gas string trimmer and realize how much power you're actually missing. We all kind of get used to things and say, okay, this is the norm. There is a huge power difference between these two models, and there's a huge power difference between the steel model and any of the high-end battery operated models, including some of the steel models where you're putting a huge battery pack on your back. There's a great difference, and it takes you getting away from it and coming back to it to really see it. The performance of gas, a good gas model, is way by far outlasting any of the battery. As always, I am super interested in your comments. It doesn't mean on my end that I will never have a use for a battery operated string trimmer. That's not true. This sits in one of my trailers and I use it for very, very small jobs where I have this out for 5 minutes or less. Anything more than that, I switch over to gas because I know I'm limited on my battery power and it just makes it easy. So I have a use for both. I have no issue with either one, but at the same point in time, if I need something and I need power, I enjoy to grab my gas engine. I enjoy not only the sound, the feeling, the power, I enjoy just everything, even the smell. Call me weird, whatever you want to do. I look forward to all that in the comments. Thank you for spending some time here. I hope this helps. If you do have any additional questions on what models maybe we'd recommend or anything like that, things to stay away from, I'll be happy to go through that in the comments, leave your questions and anything else you'd like to say below. Thank you for your time. Give us a like in this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Have a great day.